Hey, so my part is going to be in English, even though not everybody is going to speak English, but for the record. Thank you everyone for being here. More will probably join us throughout the evening. For those who don't know me, I'm Bilal El Alamy, the CEO and co-founder of PyratzLabs. We're a startup studio dedicated to Web3, where we run two different types of programs. A startup studio program where we initiate ourselves the project, but also an accelerator program so that we're not that selfish and help also external projects in the space. So today it's kind of an important day because we will be talking about a project that we've been working on for the past year. The second in-house project after Dogami. I hope it will have the same success. It's called Secured, and I'll tell you more in a bit. But before that, I would like to thank Fatih and Exaion team for the support and the sponsoring of the event with us. And so without any wait, I will let Fatih say a few words about Exaion and EDF, and then I will get back the mic before the roundtables. Thank you.
Bonjour à tous, donc je m'appelle Fatih BALYELI, je suis le CEO et cofondateur d'Exaion. Donc pour votre information, Exaion c'est la filiale Web3 du groupe EDF. Donc quand on dit Web3, on pense bien à trois choses, hein. C'est tout ce qui tourne autour du cloud 3D, de la blockchain et du edge computing. Donc chez Exaion, nous on a développé un produit sur chacune de ces trois verticales. Je vais surtout m'attarder sur Exaion Node, mais quand même je vais toucher deux mots de Exaion Studio et d'Exaion Compute. Donc aujourd'hui chez Exaion Studio, on fournit des services d'infrastructure et des services de plateforme pour l'industrie du gaming et l'industrie de la production. Donc on travaille avec pas mal de studios de production, d'animation, qui travaillent eux en back-to-back avec des Netflix, des Paramount, des Pixar, etc. Donc ils viennent faire tous leurs effets 3D en venant utiliser nos infrastructures et nos plateformes. On travaille aussi avec des grosses sociétés de gaming, hein, dont notamment Ubisoft. Sur la partie compute, on travaille beaucoup sur la partie HPC, hybridation HPC quantique, et solutions de cybersécurité et de edge computing. Donc là, on va travailler avec des grosses sociétés très sensibles, hein, ça peut être le groupe EDF, ça peut être des sociétés dans le domaine de la défense, ça peut être des gros industriels ou des sociétés bancaires qui vont avoir besoin d'avoir accès à des supercalculateurs, à des solutions de cybersécurité ou même d'héberger leur HSM et leurs infras directement dans le data center. Et puis, troisième produit, et c'est sur celui que je vais m'attarder, mais j'y reviendrai un peu plus tard, c'est la partie Exaion Node, qui est notre service de blockchain as a service. En deux mots, Exaion, c'est une boîte qu'on a créée il y a un peu moins de 4 ans maintenant avec Laurent Vernou-Mazar, qui est le CTO. On est 60 aujourd'hui, on double de taille hein, quasiment tous les ans, on va passer la barre des 100 dans pas trop longtemps. On a deux présences géographiques, donc on est le siège est à Paris La Défense, même si on a des bureaux en Normandie et à Lyon, et en Amérique du Nord, où on est présent à Montréal, Sherbrooke, et en passe d'ouvrir des bureaux à Los Altos et Toronto au Canada et aussi dans Silicon Valley. Alors Exaion Node, qu'est-ce que c'est? Nous, quand on est rentré dans la blockchain, on s'est dit comment est-ce qu'on peut créer, nous, une passerelle entre le monde des instituts, des corporates, et le monde des initiés, des pure players du Web3. On a créé cette plateforme où notre objectif, c'était vraiment de pouvoir proposer à n'importe quel utilisateur de la blockchain, pure player ou gros institut, un accès à des nœuds aux infrastructures en maximum 3 clics. Donc c'était l'objectif de la création d'Exaion Node. Et aujourd'hui, l'objectif est atteint, et comme dans le Web 2, c'est un secteur en fait qui est divisé en trois couches. La partie basse qui est la couche protocolaire, hein. Vous connaissez tous Java, XML sur la partie Web 2. Ici, on va retrouver les protocoles blockchain, hein, Bitcoin que tout le monde connaît et puis les autres. En haut, sur les applicatifs, bon, on va retrouver du Dogami et puis du Billy et tous les projets que vous connaissez ici, mais aussi des cas d'usage bancaire. On travaille avec toutes les grosses banques françaises, hein. Elles passent toutes par nos infras, Société Générale, BNP, Crédit Agricole, etc. Puis entre les deux, il y a l'infra. Donc avant, sur l'infra Web 2, c'était AWS. Dans le monde du Web 3, nos concurrents n'ont pas voulu recréer l'infrastructure, parce que AWS l'a fait pendant 10-15 ans, ils ont créé une infrastructure hyper scalable. Et aujourd'hui, toutes les boîtes du Web 2 et du Web 3 scalent sur les infras de AWS. Nous, ce qu'on a fait chez Exaion, c'est qu'on a recréé depuis 2019 des infrastructures dédiées au Web 3, réellement décentralisées, fine-tunées, équipées, architecturées, designées pour le Web 3. Et là-dessus, on est venu créer notre couche, notre plateforme, ce qui fait qu'Exaion Node, aujourd'hui, c'est une couche complètement intégrée, un peu comme AWS l'était pour le Web 2, où on fait la partie et infra et la partie plateforme. Et ça, c'est un gros différenciant parce qu'on est le seul acteur au monde à faire ça. Je passe vite parce que quand on dit Exaion, filiale Web3 du groupe EDF, tout le monde pense à souverain, tout le monde pense à cybersécurité, tout le monde pense à stabilité, tout le monde pense à la robustesse et à la décarbonation. Et l'objectif de passer par une plateforme comme Exaion Mode, c'est vraiment de réduire votre temps de dev, vos coûts de dev, votre impact carbone, et puis être capable de scaler à l'échelle mondiale un applicatif ou un protocole blockchain. Nous, nos clients, ça va être beaucoup les fondations blockchain qui veulent scaler à l'échelle mondiale, et puis les développeurs d'appli ou les gros instituts qui veulent développer et scaler leur cas d'usage à l'échelle mondiale. Aujourd'hui, on couvre 8 protocoles, on en aura plus de 15 d'ici quelques mois. On en rajoute à peu près un là tous les mois. Et puis sur nos features actuelles, donc on est sur les RPC nodes, on est sur sur les blockchains privés, sur les indexeurs, le big data. Et puis on a des features qu'on propose déjà un peu à certains initiés, mais qu'on va ouvrir plus largement sur la partie staking, sur la partie Oracle, plein de cas d'usage DeFi qu'on est en train de construire et de co-construire avec d'autres acteurs. Donc parmi nos clients, vous allez retrouver les gros acteurs, les gros instituts, entreprises du CAC 40, du SBF 120, même des grosses banques américaines. On a travaillé avec Goldman Sachs, avec Santander, banque espagnole pour Santander, donc Deloitte en France, Forge, BNP Paribas, Crédit Agricole, bon bref, les usual suspects. Et puis bien sûr la famille Pyratz, avec qui on travaille depuis le début. Et donc on est là et on espère pouvoir continuer à les accompagner sur leur futur projet. Après, j'aime bien parler un peu de ce qu'on a fait aussi, ce qui s'est vu. Typiquement, on a fourni tous les services d'infrastructure à Société Générale, Goldman Sachs et Santander, qui ont, pour le compte de la Banque Européenne d'Investissement, fait la première émission obligataire qui reposait sur la technologie blockchain, notamment c'était sur le réseau Ethereum. Un autre cas d'usage qui a fait beaucoup parler, c'est BNP Paribas, qui avec EDF-R a fait la tokenisation des premiers actifs renouvelables. Donc ça permet en fait de financer autrement des actifs renouvelables et d'ouvrir ce portefeuille d'investissement au commun des mortels avec des investissements minimes et avec une barrière à l'entrée qui est très basse. Donc à ça, et puis il y a plein d'autres cas d'usage dans la décarbonation, dans la traçabilité d'électricité avec plein de institutionnels, mais c'est pas le but. Donc voilà, en tout cas, l'objectif c'était de vous présenter en quelques mots ce que fait Exaion. Si vous avez des questions, ça peut être ce soir ou bien ça peut être par email. N'hésitez surtout pas, on est très accessible. Et puis voilà.
To give you a little bit of background about Secured, everything started about a year and a half ago. About a year and a half ago, me and my co-founder, we placed some crypto in decentralized applications. Specifically in a lending protocol, and we suffered a huge liquidation in cascade, and we lost almost 45% of the deposits that we created. When we saw that, when I saw that, I immediately thought that these types of first-generation protocol would not be stable enough, would not be attractive enough for institutionals that will come in the space where they're looking for something that has both risk management standards from the banking area, but also a more stable protocol where they can understand how they're interacting with it. So about a year ago, we decided to create Secured, which is a spin-off from PyratzLabs, dedicated to build product specialized in risk management. So I'm going to develop that. But before that, we built a team. This team is made of Anthony and Mo, with whom I co-founded the project, with huge background in traditional finance. And we also have Bastien, a PhD in residence, which worked with us on many topics. And we have also Mark and Nathan with us. Oops, sorry. So in DeFi, there are two big building blocks. The first one is the decentralized exchange, and the other one are the lending protocols. So we've been looking deep in DeFi, and what we've seen is that the DEXs relies on liquidity providers. And when we've been analyzing the different metrics for those LP tokens, we saw that there are only two metrics that are tracked. The first one is your annual percentage yield, APY, so your return. And another one is a measure of risk that we call the impermanent loss. But we believe this is an incomplete evaluation of risk because impermanent loss gives you only a static number over a period of time. So let's say, for example, you maybe have 10% APY over 1 year. It doesn't mean that you had 5% APY over the last 6 months. So what we decided to deep dive is, so we wondered what other types of risk we could quantify and how to quantify those. So after digging a little bit, we wanted to have two different types of risk. One that gives you the probability to suffer an impermanent loss at a given moment, and one to give you the risk to suffer a huge slippage at a given moment. And that's what we call MRM for the slippage and LRM for the liquidity. And so we created those two indicators, and they are based on an understandable and reproducible token rating methodologies. So we tried to replicate in a decentralized manner what Moody's and S&P are doing in the DeFi ecosystem. So you can find the methodology on our socials and analyze it, and we'll be more than welcome to have your feedbacks. Once we have designed this methodology, we decided to provide this data in real time around those risks that we have quantified. So the first is the risk function of time, the LP token price function of time, and the risk return in function of time, and have this data in real time. And there is no data analytic dashboard that is offering more criteria on the risk associated to the token that you're manipulating in DeFi. And what's interesting is that we're going to launch a dashboard to track and compare those financial risks linked to LP token in real time. And associated to this dashboard, we will be releasing an API so that other market makers, hedge funds can use them on their own to have a dynamic allocation when they are trading. Once you know in a very thorough and once you have a methodology for decision making in DeFi, the idea is how we can maximize the return that we're generating. One of the techniques to maximize your return is what we call leveraging. So what's leveraging in DeFi? Leveraging in DeFi is basically you go to a DEX, you provide token A and token B, and you get LP token in exchange. This LP token exposes you to the token A and the token B. On the other side, you can have depositors that deposit 1 or 2 tokens, and when you put your LP token as a collateral, you can borrow both token A and token B. So now let's analyze a little bit this schematic and understand how much it's interesting to leverage LP tokens and how we created a leveraging protocol that allows to minimize the risk of participating in DeFi. So first thing, LP token happens to be the best collateral. Why? Because they minimize the liquidation of probability. That's what we call smart collateralization. What you can see here is when you take a loan A collateralized by a loan B, here's kind of your probability of liquidation, depending on the correlation between the token A and the token B. In the case 2, when you use an LP token, what traditional LP token collateralized DeFi protocol do, that allows you to borrow just the token A, you are improving you're decreasing the probability of liquidation. But still, we believe we can do better when you borrow both the token A and token B with the collateral AB. And you can see here that the probability of liquidation is much lower. Another point that is interesting is that we decided to create a protocol based on what we've just said. And this protocol is what we call the liquidity-backed lending because you use LP token as collateral. It brings different value proposition in an event of market volatility. The first one, since we're lowering the probability of liquidation, so the depositor have less chances to lose their deposits, not like what happened to us about a year and a half ago. It means that there is more capital protection for the lenders. Another thing is that the borrowers who have deposited the collateral also have a lower risk of liquidation. And another important fact is that there is no cascading liquidation for lenders and borrowers. So to give you a little bit of context, if you put a collateral in token A, and then you want to liquidate it, you're essentially selling the token that you are liquidating. And so when you sell the token that you're liquidating, on a decentralized exchange, the price changes because there is a slippage. Whereas when you liquidate LP token, you're just removing the liquidity from the pool while keeping the parity between the token, and so there is no price impact when you liquidate the LP tokens. So that's a very important feature. So to come back to the smart collateralization, this answers basically how are we linking the token rating methodology to the DeFi protocol. So basically this token rating methodology allows us to fine-tune dynamically the parameters of the protocol when you're using this protocol. What does it mean? It means if, for example, you're using a DAI USDC, which is a well-graded token, you will be able to use a liquidation threshold of only 105%. So what does it mean? In traditional lending protocol, whatever the collateral that you're bringing, you have to put 150% the amount you're borrowing. And what we believe is that if you're using a very stable collateral, you don't need to apply that much of a constraint. You can do less because if you look at the risk of suffering slippage or the risk of suffering impermanent loss, it's very low. It means your collateral is going to be very stable. And by doing that, we allow the borrower to essentially borrow more with the same amount of collateral, and that's what we call capital efficiency. Another fact is we created what we call dynamic collateral diversification. So the basic implementation allows you to deposit a token B that is covered by token A, but it is covered by a collateral called token B. In secured, when you're depositing token A, you actually have a collateral that exposes you to all the pairs of LP tokens that contain this token A. So if, for example, the token B goes south, you have actually all the other pairs that hedge your risk. And this dynamic collateral diversification mitigates what we call the idiosyncratic risk for lenders this time. And so, again, the vision of this DeFi protocol is to make it very stable. What does it mean? It means that we wanted to be the closest possible to what in traditional finance we call guaranteed capital. So I'm not going to use guaranteed capital because we're not a bank and we're not insured, but the idea is to have a very high capital protection in a decentralized manner. I'm going to explain you this graph now. So what you see here is, for example, when you use a collateral such as Bitcoin in protocols like Aave. If the price of the Bitcoin moves by 20%, people start getting liquidated, the collateral starts to get liquidated. And so the depositors, if you, for example, the Bitcoin goes south 25%, the depositor will get back only 95% of his deposits. When you use an LP token, you're actually able to support a bigger price move because you're exposed to two tokens. So actually it takes you to a little bit more than 75% price move before the deposit starts to be eaten. When you add to that the dynamic collateral diversification, meaning, for example, you're exposed to 20% to a specific LP token, it improves again the deposit value when the price moves. And finally, associated to that, we decided to create a safety module or what we can call an indemnity fund that in the case of a higher price move than 95%, this insurance will cover the difference. And so if you put that all together, you're supposed to never lose your deposit. So the main value proposition of Secured is to build an ecosystem for risk-adjusted yield. It means that you have more capital protection for the depositors that are looking for passive income, and you have more capital efficiency when you do the leverage with the data decision tools that we've created. So a little bit of information about the roadmap. In September, we will be releasing this dashboard and the leveraging features on Uniswap V2 and V3. For those who don't know, the implementation of Uniswap V3 is extremely different from the Uniswap V2 because the LP tokens that you get are not fungible, they're NFTs. So it adds up a lot of complexity, but luckily the team has cracked that. Then in Q4, we will make available the APIs for the other players, and we will add up more DEXs so that you can leverage yourself from different exchanges. We're going to launch the token. The protocol is fully decentralized. All the value is captured by the token, and that's very important for us to complete this virtual circle. And what I've been telling you is mostly tools for professional liquidity providers. So the idea is how we not forget the retail players. And so we've been working, our interns have been working on a feature that I called Copilot yesterday night. And there are retail financial products such as automatic DCA or specific vaults that will dynamically deploy your money with the best risk management approach. And so finally, the idea of what we're building at Secure Labs is to create a virtual circle between all the participants in DeFi. So the depositor will allow the borrowers to multiply their APY through the data-driven approach that we're proposing. So if you leverage your times twice, you multiply your APY twice. The borrower will increase the liquidity in the DEXs because they will bring more liquidity in the pools and get more LP tokens. And the depositor will be able to generate yield without being impacted by the impermanent loss because they're indirectly providing the liquidity in the pools. And so thank you guys. That was basically what we've been working on for the past years. You can check out our blog, you can check out our website, and you can come talk to us if we have a secure t-shirt. Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight because there's a lot of events and around the town and it's pretty busy and we'll make it short because Smiyet Belrhiti with us is also busy tonight. We have Smiyet Belrhiti and Anthony Hayot, donc CPO de Secured. Smiyet, I have to say, and I am Jérémy Le Bescont from Capital Magazine, you should subscribe to our newsletter, 21 Millions, as well. And Smiyet has been introduced as a Visa, but you're from Keychain Partners currently. Can you introduce your company?
Yeah, so I used to be at Visa, but currently I'm part of Keychain. Keychain is a fund of fund that is invested in Web3 VC funds. So that's very focused on this space. Not necessarily on DeFi, but we have a focus on the broader ecosystem.
How many companies do you have in your portfolio? What's your thesis investment, if you can, in short?
Correct. So because we invest into funds, so we want to have a diversified portfolio. The way we've constructed the portfolio is across the globe because blockchain is pretty global. So we pick funds that have exposure to different ecosystems. That could be the layer ones that we talked about. We do have also a diversification in terms of sectors. Our main sectors remain very much infrastructure based. So for instance, layer one, scalability, DeFi, etc. And then also we have a diversification in terms of stage for early stage and early growth or late growth, although it's predominantly early stage and early growth. In terms of direct, we do some direct, mainly co-investments with our fund managers. And for that, we are agnostic, token or equity. And we tend to, again, follow the same strategy where we are predominantly on the lower stack of the infrastructure.
All right, so let's talk about DeFi now. This is a big word, and as we could see during Bilal's introduction, DeFi is becoming really serious. in 2017, 2018, it was mostly retail who were playing on their computers, who were really degens. And now, for the past 2 years, it looks like, and I guess that's why Secured has been invented, institutional investors are coming. Anthony, maybe?
Yeah, just a quick word. I come from the TradFi industry.
Yeah.
I've been a trader for the past, for almost 10 years at BNP and Natixis in structured credit products. And definitely in the TradFi industry, retail players are not doing market making, for example. So it's really like professional role taking care of making the liquidity of the market. And I think that DeFi is doing the same shift towards professionalization for certain role. I'm thinking of providing liquidity. When you look at, for example, Uniswap V3, the complexity of choosing the right range, being able to adjust it over time and making money out of that and hedging its position, it's pretty complex. It takes into account volatility. You may use your options to hedge your impairment loss. So it's pretty complex, and it's definitely less and less accessible to retail players. I think there is the same shift in the staking industry. When you could start looking at what is doing at the Exaion layer and the different slashings that you can add to your staking ETH, I mean, people are not going to extract all the MEV and hedge that. So this way is going to be professionalized as well. So the idea is, how do you allocate the risk between asset holder when you own coin but you're not going to spend your day looking at it, and professional players who can use these assets to do leverage. And that's what we thought in by building Secured.
Full disclaimer, Smiyet, I think that you're an advisor of Secured. What interesting you in this company?
So it's exactly what you said. I mean, for DeFi to grow, you need to attract institutional investors. And for institutional investors, I think we all know they have a very, stringent requirements in terms of risk, in terms of liquidity, in terms of price, in terms of slippage. So today, the DeFi is only, is only 3 years old. Since 2019, so it's very nascent product, let's say, and therefore it's natural that in the first iteration or the first generation of the products, it's going to be very basic, and it will have some limitations that hedge funds or big institutional investors will not even pass any of their framework or risk metrics. I mean, for anyone that worked in a bank, you all know the discussion that you will have in a risk committee or a compliance committee. You will never be able to touch anything like what we have today. So how do we make the product or the protocol layer or the technology institutional grade and accessible to these investors? Because that's how we're going to augment the liquidity. We can have another cycle. We can have Bitcoin going to 60,000 or even more, but the liquidity, the institutional investors will only come if certain pain points are addressed. Slippage is definitely one of them. Speed, latency, all those requirements are very important to be addressed, so that we can have these institutional investors now coming in and depositing capital, creating liquidity, etc., etc.
But there's a question I haven't asked, and maybe I should have started with this. Why would institutional investors come in DeFi in the first place? Why should they?
Exactly. That's a good question. When I discovered blockchain, coming from the TradFi industry, there was two things that really struck me. The first one is the power of blockchain to automate post-trades. When you look at what happened in banks, you have huge teams of back office and middle offices that check the transaction and reconcile with the counterparty and make sure that the settlement is properly done, etc. And it takes a lot of time, and it costs a lot to banks to do that. When you look at blockchain, back office, middle office, booking system, everything is done automatically in one transaction at a very small cost. So the attractiveness of this cost reduction is huge for institutional, and really they look at it like something that will change their game. I think the second element that is important for for financial institution is the power of blockchain to tokenize assets. A lot of markets are illiquid because of regulation, because of paperwork. I can think about real estate, we can think about the music industry, and this is all startups that we have at Pyratz here, and we thought that bringing these assets illiquid in the real life into a liquid market on the tokenized side make a lot of sense, and it's really appealing for banks to bring these illiquid assets to blockchain. So there is definitely obstacles such as regulation, compliance, etc. But I think that the attractiveness of blockchain will make institutional jumps in the coming years, and I think this is the next boom of DeFi will definitely come with the arrival of institutional investors.
Smiyet, what's your perspective on this?
Yeah, I think I would add, a third point to what Anthony said is composability, which is again doesn't exist today in the current let's say stack, banking stack or capital market stack. So, if anyone worked at the bank again, you would know that structuring a product and trying to be innovative is very complex, and because the stack underneath what we're building on today is very complex and very difficult. So blockchain with EVMs, with smart contracts, with interoperability create this possibility of creating even new products like depositing two assets in a pool. You can think of so many iterations or combinations of that could create or open up other type of products that we cannot create today.
You talked about some obstacles and regulations, and for now we're still not into MiCA, but it's coming, and MiCA is not really regulating DeFi, but there's going to be probably a MiCA 2. How do you build a product without knowing what regulation will be in the coming years?
We have a guess. We know what's happening on the traditional finance side, and we know that KYC, AML is definitely things that have to come in the crypto space for it to become a mature environment. So for now, we can build outside of these constraints, but we have in mind that if we want to onboard this institutional, we will have to propose something. So there was a very interesting initiative from Aave with a KYC gated version of their protocol. I think in terms of timing, it was maybe a bit early for institutional to jump into it, so it's still an experimentation, let's say. But this is something that we look with much interest, and I think that KYC gated for regulated entities make a lot of sense, so that they can interact with people that they know that they can identify and eventually go to court against them if need be. I think this KYC DeFi will be living aside of the permissionless one.
What are the main use cases that an institution can, find now and probably in the future? You started to reply on this, but in the future with DeFi, according to you, the main use cases for an institution.
If you're Société Générale, BNP, Goldman Sachs, or JP Morgan, your first business is to create liquidity. So definitely market making is something that banks have to jump on for sure. So maybe there will be some acquisition in that space in the coming years. I think we will see that a lot, because building a team with the knowledge and the ability to be market making in the crypto space is very hard for banks, so maybe they will acquire teams. I think stable coins is something that is a traditional business of banks, so they interact with a CBDC, with wholesale CBDC, with central banks, but creating retail CBDC is definitely the business of banks, and I think we'll see a shift. I don't know if Circle is going to become a bank or if banks are going to start, but I think this will push this way. So stablecoin and market making, I think this is the next target for banks.
And you coming from banks, recently, just today, you know, Société Générale Forge is the first, you know, fully licensed CASP or sign in France. Do you see this as a good sign of that, you know, the sign of good trend?
Yeah, they've started pretty early to experiment, and I think that was one of the first banks to be in that space and even to try DeFi by refinancing their obligation on that. I think they will launch their stablecoin pretty soon on Euro, and they are contacted by other entities and over the globe to launch other currency in stablecoin. So yeah, I think this kind of example will be replicated a lot.
Going back to secured, what will be your first, you know, users? Do you have still? Are you live?
No, we'll be live in September.
September, yeah.
Exactly. We have to go through all the security audits because once you're protecting the capital of your depositors, you need to have the very high quality smart contract security. So we'll be launching in the coming months, and we have two different types of users. On the borrow side, it's really we're targeting market makers and hedge funds who are already providing liquidity to decentralized exchange, but want to adjust their risk profile. If you have more risk appetite than what Uniswap can offer you, then you can use leverage to top up your position and maximize your return on equity. So that's on the first side, and I can announce it a bit early, but we'll make an official announcement just for you. So we are signing a partnership with Kirok. We're integrating the acceleration program. So Kirok is a huge market maker in the space, and I think this partnership will validate the fact that we are providing a real service for them.
And it's a shame because we should have one tonight from Kirok, and it's not here, but okay, go on, please.
He will confirm that. On the deposit side, we are targeting much more retail investors. The idea is that you hold token. You don't have to go through the whole white papers of Uniswap to understand impermanent loss, etc. You just want to realize some passive income on your assets. So the idea is that we are providing them a saving account like Livret A, where you can put your crypto in and generate passive income with the maximum capital protection and without to worry about market volatility. And that's the two plays that we are trying to combine.
And I guess it should be emphasized that your cross-chain protocol and you're building on Tezos and on Ethereum.
Actually, we're going to launch on Ethereum mainnet, okay. Where the TVL of DEXs are the biggest. Of course, yeah. If you totalize Balancer, Uniswap, and Curve, it's almost like 10 billions of collateral available for secured. So it's pretty huge to serve. And I think the second step will be to move to L2s, the main L2s like Polygon and the optimistic rollups.
Is it like a change? Is it obviously the goal to be blockchain agnostic to attract every player on the space?
Well,
is it a necessity?
It's a necessity if you want to expand and serve the maximum use cases. I think if tomorrow you have a lot of complexity in structured products, for example, it will happen more on L2s than on Ethereum mainnet. So you need to have the ability to leverage different type of position across chains.
All right. What's your view about the future of DeFi and the institutional investors, Smiyet?
Well, I think, as we discussed earlier, there are some key pain points that today exist. Not only cost or liquidity impairment loss, but latency, price movement, and cost as well. Today, there are actually some big asset managers that, comparatively to other asset classes, it's small, but they are trading or exposed to this space through centralized exchanges. And the reason is mainly about cost and all the frictions that we talked about. So as the DeFi and on-chain products and trading start to get closer to the centralized exchange experience, I think that will definitely start attracting the institutional investors.
Okay. What are your KPI, your main KPI for Secured after the launch? Can you share it?
TVL. I think the idea is really to make a virtuous circle. So we're building a tokenomics where we'll make available for our users 50% of our total capitalization. The idea is really to incentivize our first users who come and use the protocol at the very beginning, because they're making this network effect and help us grow quickly. And I think that it's very new in capitalism to share with your first users the equity of your company, of your project. It's like you're the first user of Uber, and they give you some shares of Uber to participate. So I think that this network effect is really important to grow fast and grow big before banks jump into the game and try to make the same thing.
All right. I just wouldn't want Smiyet to leave before the public could ask him a question. And so if you want, to ask a question to the team or to Anthony, who is the CPO of Secured. Nobody?
Come on.
Challenge him? No, I think everybody is exhausting. Too many side events right now, and people are already tired. Thank you, both of you. I think we will end it right now. And Smiyet, thank you for being here, despite the ongoing events. And Anthony, good luck for Secured, and thank you for the host, and Bilal as well. Oh, there was a question behind. Yes. Okay, come on. Thanks.
Hi Anthony, can you tell me a difference between Secured and other leverage yield farming?
Well, we have different features that makes us different from other protocols. If you look at, for example, other lending protocol, we're really focusing on minimizing the probability of liquidation. I think it's very important because liquidation is bad for everybody. It's bad for lenders, it's bad for borrowers. It's just good for liquidator, but we are not here to finance liquidator. So that's the first thing. Bilal talked about it. Diversification is something very new that we have in Secured. In other leverage farming protocol, you be exposed only to one collateral, and in case of a DPEG, we've seen a couple of them, you'll be eaten on the totality of your deposit. The idea at Secured is really to minimize the loss in case a liquidation happens, and diversification is a great tool to do that.
And there is a last step before the drink, because I think someone can pitch a project. But next, thank you, Smiyet and Anthony.
All right, the fun part now. So we've been talking about super technical stuff. Now it's absolutely not technical. It's rather fun. So let me introduce you guys. Alexandre Raffin. He's a good friend and a very good entrepreneur. And he's talking about his new project called UMeme. Yes. Thanks, Alex.
So my name is Alex. I'm one of the co-founders of UMeme, and we want to be the Instagram for memes. So today I'll try to tell you a few secrets about memes. I've done lots of search on memes. And I've been in crypto for the past 6 years. So if there's something I've seen, is that the market cap of projects, they are not really linked to the fundamental value, not really linked to the number of users, to the revenue, to how strong the tech is, but they're more linked to the community, the quantity and the quality of the people. And how do you create a strong community? How do you create the biggest cult around your project? Well, memes play a big part. I've seen 24/7 in Telegram and Discord, people who master the GIFs, the stickers, and the memes, they have more authority, and that helps bring a smile on people's faces and bring the whole community together. So I think memes are very powerful. I'll give you a few more arguments. So, Elon Musk, one of the most powerful men on the planet, who controls the memes, controls the universe. We could stop here, but there's many stats about memes that you can find online. There's one that I really like, is that 60% of people say they are more likely to buy from a brand that uses memes. So if you think about it, if your competitors use memes and you don't, well, most likely you're going to lose market shares compared to them. So it's not just good to use memes, it's necessary for survival, in my opinion. There might be a few exceptions. So when people realize that, I believe all the companies in the meme business will thrive a lot. Okay, so we are, as I was saying, a social network for memes. We want to make it exciting and easy. We use AI as a tool. First feature is swap faces. You can turn your friends into memes and not exit liquidity. We don't really like much the liquidators, as he was saying. So you can take a picture of your friend's face and put him or her in a meme. And the good thing is that it will not be limited to pictures. You can take 2 pictures of your friends, put them in a boxing match together, and suddenly you have an entirely new class of content at your fingertips that can be more dramatic, more exciting, and ultimately more viral. So this is the fun part. We have a second feature, text to meme. Maybe you want to create a meme, you have an idea, but you don't know where to start. You can type in a word, a short sentence, and our AI will give you meme options. You can generate as many as you want, and then you can edit it, refine it. It's pretty cool. I've personally used it quite a lot. Elon Musk was in Paris a few weeks ago. I made it my mission on that day to speak with him. I went with an envelope full of memes, created some myself, and used the AI to generate a few. One of them was when the croissants get too expensive, but you're Elon Musk, so you buy the bakery. And the prompt for that was just Elon Musk in Paris. So the AI is pretty good. And I'll tell you one last thing, which what we have right now is live is pretty cool. But the memes, they're usually about things, events, concepts. And on the current social networks, Instagram, Facebook, it's about people. We see the Instagram stories, we want to see other people's lives. So what we will do is we'll have mimified Instagram stories. Again, you can take a picture of your life and the AI will add a funny caption. And I'll give you an example so you can understand better. I was testing it, my friend was working in front of me, he was on his computer, and he also had a phone in his hand. And the AI said, well, stop trying to multitask, start by doing one thing right. So, kind of roasting him. So the AI can understand the details of a picture, and we believe it can be a new, funnier way to share your Instagram stories. We're live, as I was saying, we are live on Lens Protocol, which means you can log in with a wallet if you'd like, as well as an email. We got some support from Polygon. I'd like to tell you something cool. I told you we're a social network. I lied a bit, it's true, but also we are a technology company. We are white labeling our tech to the pudgy penguins. We are creating a custom meme editor for them. So the penguin, you have the hat, the eyes, the beak, the coat. You can create your own penguin, put it in any background you like. Could be the Arctic, at a beach, a club, whatever, and then put a caption. You can create your meme like this. The amazing thing is that this can scale very easily to other NFT collections, other Web2 companies, and individuals, artists, influencers, create custom meme editors for all of them. And we are raising our seed round. We have some amazing angel investors, talking to a few VCs, exploring our options. And pretty much that's it. If you want to check it out, if you need some more memes and fun in your life, umeme.com. Thank you so much, Pyratz and Bilal, and enjoy the food, guys. Thank you.